What's up, everybody? This is another episode of SPORTS-REUBEN-LIFE. This is Ruben Camacho right here. I'm going to jump right into it here. And this is what I'm going to talk about here is the UFC. In particular, I'm going to talk about LIZ CARMOUCHE, right? LIZ CARMOUCHE said that she was cut by the UFC because she beat all the contenders, right? You say you beat all the contenders. Now, here's the issue. Here's the giant issue I have with this whole situation here, okay? You have the UFC, which is on fire with their deal with ESPN, okay? You have their deal with the ESPN is on fire, and she got cut. I'm gonna tell you why she got cut, okay? It's not because she's not good. It's not because nobody would take a fight from her, right? It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the fact that if you're gonna be good and you want a big contract, you have to be in the limelight all the time. You have to get out there. You have to be interesting. You can't just be middle of the pack. I'm not saying that she was boring. What I'm saying is we never heard from LIZ CARMOUCHE in the news. Unless you're a die-hard fan, and she fought for the title, and she probably wanted big money after losing. You don't deserve the big money after losing. So I'm not saying that she's not popular, she's not famous, she's not good. Nobody's saying any of that stuff. What I'm saying is, you're fighting at the top level, you gotta be out there more often than what she was. If she was more of an entertainer, there's no way. If she was undeniable, and I use that word undeniable because that's what you have to be. Conor McGregor is undeniable. Jorge Masvidal, Mr. Three-Piece and a fried three-piece and chicken, whatever, he's undeniable. Nate Diaz, you're undeniable, right? Brian Ortega, you're undeniable. Undeniable. Holy smokes. Amanda Nunes, you're undeniable, right? There's people that are just so polarizing that you have to keep them. There's no reason they're gonna let her go except the fact that they're not making any money. You gotta sell yourself in a day and age of popularity, social media, and broadcasting. They gotta deal with ESPN, okay? ESPN is owned by Disney. Did we forget? Disney makes Baby Yoda. You're talking marketing geniuses at Disney. And they're partnered with ESPN, and now the UFC gotta contend with that? They're playing in the big times now. ESPN doesn't play. They don't need fighters that are afraid to do interviews. They don't need fighters, and women or men, that are not willing to have exposure. You can't just sit there and be a good fighter anymore and be on the UFC. Go be on Bellator. Go be on One Championship. Go be over there where if you're a champion, you could just disappear. Nobody has heard from Mighty Mouse since he got released from the UFC. He was quiet already, right? He was a champion for like 7 years. And the reason why he was a champion for 7 years and nobody heard about him, and he got traded for Ben Askren, who's now retired, basically because the UFC said, we can't really get no more out of him. You have to sell a product, right? And so that's what you do in the UFC. You're part entertainer, you're part athlete, your complete package is you're a prize fighter. They need prize fighters. They need people to sell cards. I want to see Cowboy Cerrone, even though he has a ton of losses, I want to see Cowboy Cerrone fight Conor McGregor, okay? Facts. And I challenge you to tell me that's not going to be an interesting fight in January 18th, by the way, UFC 246, right? Conor McGregor, he announced on his own when he's going to come out of retirement. The reason for that is because it's interesting and compelling to watch that guy fight, right? John Jones is going to fight a guy who's really not that good, but because you're John Jones, right? You're super interesting. Everybody wants to see you. You're undefeatable. John Jones is the cheat code of the UFC, and how he gets defeated, okay? Newsflash, he defeats himself, okay? I get so fired up about this. They don't like me. Same thing with Chris Cyborg. You badmouth the UFC so much, the executives at ESPN say, what are we supposed to do with this? How are we supposed to work with this? There's no bad guys no more in the UFC. It doesn't work anymore to be the enemy. There's no more Tito Ortiz's of the UFC. Because that's not the game they're playing anymore. They stepped it up. They were at level this. Now they're at level ESPN, the real deal. This is real promotion. This is real entertainment. We're putting all the checks on the boxes. We're crossing all the T's and dotting the I's. Every single thing, right? Liz Carmouche, you can't say that. I beat everybody and they won't give me a fight. How come you weren't more vocal about it? How come you didn't go on your Twitter? How come you didn't go on your Instagram? How come you didn't build that following? I need a fight. I need a fight. I need a fight. Give me a fight. Call my agent. Fire your agent and go get another fight. Are you serious right now? It is unequivocally undeniable that the UFC is the premier mixed martial arts organization. If anybody in my comments says you're wrong, Ruben, unsubscribe, because it's not true. Bellator is not a superior product, and it's not because the fight. No, let me get this straight. Let me pretend. This video is not going to be very long, but I'm gonna go off right here, right? Yeah, I'm not saying that the fighters aren't quality. What I'm saying is, in order for you to be a top level prize fighter, you got to be the complete package. That's why in the boxing world, Anthony Joshua makes more money than Andy Ruiz, because he's been doing it longer and he has the pedigree and the history. All that stuff matters. Okay? Liz Carmouche, you got your shot. You couldn't do it. You couldn't step up. You couldn't put yourself in the limelight. You couldn't do it. It's nothing wrong with it. Not everybody's cut out for that. Look what happened to Ronda Rousey, right? She was beating everybody, and then these other fighters that said, we don't care about being famous. We're just gonna beat you up. Amanda Nunes went in there and she said, hold my beer or don't, and let me light you on fire. So did Holly Holm, and so forth and so on. But you got to be an entertaining character. Everybody says, well, that's not right, Ruben. You shouldn't have to do that. You should be a good fighter. Yeah, you're right. If you just want to be middle of the pack, okay? You want Conor McGregor money? You want $100 million? What do you want? You just want to fight for the love of the fight? That's great. You're getting your head beaten every single time. You don't want to make something of it? You don't want to develop this into a post-career? You don't want to take broadcasting gigs? Broadcasting training? You don't want to take media training so that way you can kill it in the interview, so that way all these news outlets want to talk to you? That's one thing about the internet. Everybody says it kills a newspaper. There are so many media outlets out there nowadays. So many that if you can't get attention, you're not saying the right things. Everybody says, well, that's not who I am as a person. Okay, you're not going to be famous then. The UFC doesn't want to have nothing to do with you. This is the company that's dealing with Baby Yoda. Do you hear me? MMA community? I don't know if I'm being judgmental. I'm fired up about this whole deal. Liz Carmouche, nobody wanted to fight me. Really? Because nobody saw the entertainment value. You can't sell seats and you have a lot of victories. Nobody wants to be part of that. If you're going to bust my head open, you need to pay me for it. And to pay me for it, we got to be famous together. What makes good fights great? When you have one fighter that is very charismatic and outgoing and everything, they sell a ton of tickets. When you have, now that's amazing, right? So you have two fighters that are average and they're good, they sell tickets. When you have one that's out there and he's very entertaining, or she, very entertaining, they sell more tickets. Now, when you have the unicorn situation, you have the Conor McGregor, Donald Cerrone thing, that's gonna be a mega card. Nobody's making $20,000 there. Okay? The undercards are going to have to be killers because you're going to get embarrassed. Right? If you're an undercard on the Conor McGregor Donald Cerrone fight, guess what? Here's your chance to show out, Liz Carmouche. If you're on the undercard, I don't get the headline because you don't stand out. You got to stand out on another level. That's the way it works in the UFC now. I don't know why I got so fired up. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Comment below. Tell me that I'm wrong. Liz Carmouche fans, tell me I'm wrong, okay? You gotta be more interesting because nobody cares. That's just the way it works. That's a plain and simple thing. I know that sounds really tone deaf and really mean and rude and all that other good stuff like that, but guess what? That's the reason why they cut her. If she was undeniable, they would have gave her more money. She didn't ask for $1 trillion, did she? Let's talk to her agent. Have her agent on ESPN and telling how we asked for some more money. They said no because you don't test well and all these other things, and you've been in the UFC for 15 years now. It doesn't work that way. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks.